Sunday, the 25th of December, 2022. I had just uploaded a video where I created a game entirely using AI assets. I had AI give me the game idea and ideas for the features and gameplay. I had AI make me art assets to use in the game. I even found an AI that could make me music that I could use in the game, which sounds like this. That video would then go on to be my most viewed video by far, currently sitting at over 8,000 views. Since that video has been uploaded, however, AI has made some insane advancements. For example, AI image generation has gone from looking like this to looking more like this. AI music has gone from this to becoming nothing short of incredible. And most importantly, the number of views on videos talking about AI has gone from this to this. I want this, give me it please. So here's how this is going to work. I shall get an AI to give me an absolutely retarded game idea, and I will make a game about it. And it will be great. So step 1 is getting the game idea. I opened ChatGPT and immediately ran into problem number 1. AI has become boring as fuck. When I ask AI for a game idea, I get the most descriptive, realistic, intricate, and uninspiring prompt ever, leaving absolutely nothing to interpretation. This isn't even just a problem with language models. AI image generation used to be a thing that people would use to make funny photos of Joe Biden getting lost. It's now become a very commonplace thing, especially online, where big companies and vegans will use AI for art in the place of actual artists. Why can't we go back to the olden days, where I would ask AI for a game idea and it would respond back in like Pig Latin or some shit? Now AI is good, and it sucks. This is why I pulled out an old card of mine, something I never thought I'd use. AI Dungeon, the legacy version. AI Dungeon is a chatbot that basically lets you play D&D if you have no friends. I decided to use this because AI Dungeon had a reputation for being definitely not on the smart side, which makes it the ideal candidate for what we want to do. I simply asked it for a game idea and immediately understood what I'd gotten myself into. You see, when I was starting, I just clicked whatever random options there were so I could just skip to actually asking for a game idea. But because of the options I'd picked, the AI insisted that I was role-playing as somebody's dog, and the game idea was a game that I, a dog, wanted to play with a dog toy. I don't know about you, but I personally am not a dog, and I need a game idea. So I started anew, and decided to roleplay as myself. This worked perfectly. A game about a planet where all of its inhabitants are made of chocolate and must fight for their survival. But I think the AI was hungry because every step of the way, as I asked for more details, it was constantly, consistently reminding me of the fact that the people are in fact made of chocolate. I don't know what was going on, but I love it. Now it's time to make the game. I started off with the bold decision to make the player characters' art and animations first. I also got player movement working, which is cool. I then added shooting to the game. My vision for this whole thing was a top-down bullet hell, where you, a chocolate man, must fend off waves of various confectionery-inspired enemies. By the way, does anyone appreciate the way the bullets spin and disappear once it hits something? Just that bit of extra polish? No? No one cares. Okay, now we can't just have a gun without enemies to shoot at, can we? That's like having a console with no games. So say hello to the cotton candy. The idea is simple. He shoots fast, small bullets that grow larger and slower over time. The bullets being cotton candy that he just rips out of his own flesh. So then I made the enemy smart. When the enemy's health is over 30%, he tries to maintain a close distance to the player to try and hit them with the super fast bullets, playing aggressively. But when the enemy's low on health, they'll sit much further back and try to push the player away with a slower but larger bullet. And I think that's pretty cool. You might also notice that there's a map now. Yeah, I spent a bit of time drawing out this tile map, and honestly, I don't like it. But hey, I do like this wave generator. How it works is that it spawns a certain number of enemies at the start of the game, and then checks how many enemies there are every second, If all the enemies are defeated, it will spawn the same number of enemies again, but increased by a certain amount. Then the next wave will have more enemies, but increased by that certain amount again. And the next wave after that will have more enemies, and next after that will have more. Just look at the code. It's clean, it's efficient, and it is the best thing I've ever made. But of course we need a bigger selection of enemies to spawn. I made this Coca-Cola can that explodes when you touch it. Completely original idea, never heard of it before. The AI is pretty simple. Once it spawns in, it will start by simply running around randomly, and after a random duration, the Coke can will absolutely beeline it for the player. The Coke can will also chase the player prematurely if it can see the player, meaning there's no walls between it and the player. This introduces a dynamic that I think is pretty cool. The cotton candy will sit back, constantly trying to push the player away into corners, restricting the player's movement, which is a problem for the player when the Coke can starts running at them, as the cotton candy limits the area that the player can run away to. By the way, do you like this animation I made for the Coke can? This is why I didn't use AI for the art. This is Google DeepMind, which is the AI thing. There's a new AI called Genie, and it turns images into 2D games. I'm not entirely sure how it works. Anytime I hear someone try to explain it, my brain just goes. But this is quite fascinating. You can use AI images to create infinite games, or even draw a game on paper, and the AI will just kind of do its thing. Right now it can only create 2D platformers, which is still scary since AI can also apparently make pixel art. So, you know what that means. The entire indie games industry is fucked, including me. From what I understand, the AI is essentially given a template and then build the level and art for the game based off of the provided image on top of the template. That's why there's no bugs, it's not programming a game from the ground up, you know, so we're not quite fucked just yet. But if you haven't noticed, these games look kinda bad. When I inevitably die due to some incredibly stupid circumstances, I want to be able to look back at all the games that I've created and think, yeah, I'm proud of that. That's actually really cool. And the one thing that's not going to have me thinking that is a game composed of AI-generated JPEGs sliding across the screen. I've literally already done that before, because due to college I've recently been practicing pixel art and animation like a lot, and I enjoy the process of making this art, so I have no reason to want to skip this process, especially if the result ends up being shittier. But also the game looks like this right now, so let me tell you what the strange green blob is. The third and final enemy, the Jawbreaker. The idea is simple, it dashes at the player. The AI is not really much to talk about, it literally just chases the player and it dashes. But I have a small problem with the animation I made. Being that it doesn't look like a Jawbreaker, it feels very soft, which is not quite right. But the animation itself looks good, and I'm too lazy to fix it. Speaking about the animation, I recently invested in some new software, Sprite. For the longest time I've been using this program called Piskel, which is like an online browser-based software for pixel art, but I downloaded the Windows version anyway, so it's not really. Piskel's great and all, and I would recommend it if you are trying to get into pixel art. But Sprite is just so nice, look at that, you see that? There's even like a million different add-ons you can download for it. But now we have a finished game, which you can play with the link in the description. But I forgot something. If we go back to the prompt we got from AI Dungeon, you might notice that we're missing something. It's meant to be a planet, which is not this. 40 likes and I'll turn it into a survival game.